Cinema 4D makes the creation of realistic cloth pretty simple. And as you can see here from this little demonstration, you get a really nice simulation. So what I'm going to do is show you how to set this up and how to control things like gravity, inertia, and how to have the actual parts of your cloth not go through the other parts. So it will be self-aware and know how to ignore itself, in other words. So I'm going to go ahead and create another file, as I always do. And we're not going to get as fancy as creating a table, but we'll simply create a cube like so. That will be our object that will have the cloth fold over. And for our cloth, we'll create a plane. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my lines so you can see that I have a lot of detail already by default in this plane. And I'm not going to change the resolution of that. However, I will change the size just a little bit. So let's go ahead and name these things so we know what we're doing here. So it'll be my cloth, and this would be the table. Nice, simple table. Now I'm going to add some tags to these objects. Now, the first tag I want to add to the cloth after I turn it into an actual mesh, because this won't work unless we do this. Go ahead and turn this into a mesh, but you don't have to worry about the table, is we're going to go ahead and right click on the cloth, and we're going to choose a certain tag for it. You see, there are simulation tags in here, as well as the regular Cinema 4D tags. So I'm going to go to simulation tags, and I'm going to turn this into a cloth object. Once we do that, we can go to the cloth parameters and we can change quite a few things, but we'll come back to this in just a moment. If we were to play this now, you see that the cloth just flies into space. That's because this is now cloth, but now we need something to collide into. So our table is going to get a tag too. I'm going to right click. We're going to go back to simulation tags, and this will be the cloth collider, the thing the cloth will hit so that it will be able to deform. Now let's go ahead and rewind and press play again. And it's just that simple. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the parameters for our cloth simulation. So let's go back to the cloth tag. All right, so we don't want to click on the cloth. Make sure you click on the tag itself. And I'll go ahead and expand this a little bit so we can see what's in this little area. You have a lot of control over how the cloth reacts to a collision. So we can control the stiffness of the cloth. Now, of course, that will depend on the kind of material you have there. So let's go ahead and just reduce this to about 50% or so. Now, as far as the actual gravity, let me go ahead and just do a quick render of this real fast, a playthrough. We can see that it's a lot springier than it was before. Now, let's go ahead and go to forces now, and we can change the gravity. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose something at random. I'll make a lot of gravity on this, and I'll add some drag. I'm going to, once again, rewind and press play. And you see that it's much more controlled than it was last time because we slowed the gravity down and we also introduced a little drag so that it has a little bit more resistance in the wind. And speaking of wind, if you want wind in the simulation, you have the wind controls here. So we have wind in our z-axis. We can also control the wind strength. So let's go ahead and crank that up. Rewind, press play. it just blows completely out of the region here. So let's go ahead and drop the strength down some more. Hit play. And it gently goes off into the distance. This is so fun. And we also have lots more we can do. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how to make the cloth aware of itself so that when the parts of the cloth hit each other, they don't go through. So I'm going to go to the Expert tab, and we're going to turn on self-collision. All right, so that's kind of important. So if you have a character or whatever, you want to make sure that the collision doesn't go through, we can put that on.